Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Mysteries from Beyond the Other Dominion. I'm your host, Dr. Franklin Ruehl, and now the question of the day. Was Tut possibly reincarnated as Jesus Christ? Roll tape.
Now it's time to ask the question of the day. Was King Tut possibly reincarnated as Jesus Christ? But first, the trivia question of the day. Let me extricate here from this paper prison. The question. Thoth, that's T-H-O-T-H, the Egyptian god of wisdom, was represented as having the body of a human and the head of which bird? Now this is multiple choice in alphabetical order. Was that bird an eagle, falcon, goose, hawk, ibis, or owl? Now the prize, the only prize for the correct answer is one pat on the back that you'll have to administer to yourself. If you want $1 million, call Regis Philbin. But please, please do not call us. We don't have any operators to take your calls, and if we did, we still could not afford prizes. I'll take a sip of water and be back momentarily with that correct answer. Okay, I'm calling time. Let's take a look at the 6 possible answers here. We have eagle, falcon, goose, hawk, ibis, owl. Which was the head of Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom? And of course I have to ask, is that your final answer? The owl? No, even though that sounds reasonable, it's actually the ibis, an Egyptian wading bird. Now there's a new book out by noted scholar Maurice Cotterell entitled The Tutankhamun Prophecies. And in it, he claims that King Tut, seen here, actually was reincarnated as Jesus Christ. He first of all points out that both died violent deaths. As you may recall, I told you about Tut, who died at age 20 in 1350 B.C. His skull had been caved in, probably by his regent Ai, who himself wanted to become Pharaoh. Also, Ai had a Hittite prince who was going to marry Tut's widow, assassinated, because he had to marry her in order to become Pharaoh. Then after he did marry her, he murdered her too. He's a serial killer because he wanted to marry his beloved Tai. However, just 3 years after becoming Pharaoh, he died, apparently of natural causes. Cotterell also points out that in the tomb of Tut, there are hieroglyphics referring to him as the Son of God, similar to Jesus Christ. Also, those hieroglyphics refer to an unfulfilled religious mission that Tut had. Now the next question, is there any reference in the good book to reincarnation? Well, I pointed out before that in both the Old and New Testaments, there are direct and indirect references indeed to reincarnation. Perhaps the most direct comes from Jesus himself in John chapter 3, verse 7, where he tells Nicodemus, "Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again. Ye must be born again." Now that certainly sounds like a reference to reincarnation to me. Next question. Are there any references to Jesus himself having been reincarnated? Yes, indeed. Again, John, this time chapter 8, verses 56 through 58. "Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. Then said the Jews unto him, Thou art not yet 50 years old, and hast thou seen Abraham? Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am." Now it's a bit convoluted, but the interpretation here is that in a previous incarnation, Jesus did indeed know Abraham. That leads to another question. Is it possible that the paths of Tut and Abraham crossed? Well, the death date of Abraham is uncertain. He may have flourished anywhere from 1000 B.C. to 3000 B.C. So there is a remote possibility that Tut and Abraham might have had encountered themselves at some point. Another idea is that Jesus may have had many previous incarnations. Don't forget, Buddha had 350, he claimed. Now, if we're going to go this far and assert that Tut may have been had reincarnated into Jesus, I'd like to nominate another Pharaoh, Akhenaten, who was actually the predecessor to Tut and possibly his father. He was actually a religious zealot who introduced monotheism into Egypt. At the time, it was a polytheistic religion. His original name was Amenhotep IV, but he changed it to Akhenaten, meaning beneficial to Aten, because he believed in worship of just one god, Aten, the sun god. That's A-T-E-N. He built a temple in the desert, moved his family out there, and built many structures honoring Aten. At his death, the religious hierarchy, which had opposed him, just as the religious hierarchy at the time of Jesus opposed him, destroyed those temples and called Akhenaten an enemy of Egypt. So I think he makes an excellent candidate also as the predecessor to Jesus. But these are tough questions, controversial ones. So I'm going to let you decide, first of all, is reincarnation a possibility? And if so, is it conceivable that either Tut or Akhenaten was reincarnated as Jesus Christ? Again, it's your call on these tough, controversial questions.
Now until next time, may the power of the cosmos be with you. Yes, yes, yes.